Love bombing today, cold shoulder tomorrow. The emotional roller coaster that comes with narcissistic relationships destroys your mental health piece by piece until you no longer recognize yourself in the mirror. What starts as the most incredible connection of your life slowly morphs into a psychological nightmare where you're constantly walking on eggshells, doubting your own reality, and feeling completely drained. In this video, I'm going to reveal the 5 unmistakable signs that you're dealing with a narcissistic lover and exactly why you need to exit this relationship immediately, before it's too late. These signs aren't just theory, they're the real-world patterns that countless survivors have experienced. Stick around for all 5 signs, because understanding even one of these could save you years of emotional damage. And if you're short on time, remember to watch at 1.5 or 2 times speed, because every minute spent learning these signs is an investment in your future happiness and mental well-being. Let's dive right in. So you met someone who seems absolutely perfect. They text you good morning every day, shower you with compliments, and somehow remember every little detail about your life. You're my soulmate, they tell you after just 2 weeks. I've never connected with anyone like this before. Sound familiar? That rush of being the center of someone's universe feels amazing, right? But here's where things get tricky, and why this is sign number 1 of dealing with a narcissistic lover. That perfect beginning has a name: love bombing. It's like being hit with a tsunami of affection. Flowers for no reason, future plans about marriage after 3 dates, and constant messages checking if you're okay. It's not just nice, it's overwhelming in the best possible way. You feel chosen, special, like you've hit the relationship jackpot. But then something shifts. Maybe you disagree with them about something small. Maybe you spend time with friends instead of them. And suddenly, that same person who couldn't get enough of you is saying things like, "You know, when we first met, I thought you were more ambitious," or "That outfit doesn't really flatter you, but it's cute that you try." Wait, what just happened? Yesterday you were perfect. Today you're somehow not enough. This is the devaluation phase, and it's as calculated as the love bombing was. Think about it. If someone treated you like this from day 1, would you stick around? Of course not. But after weeks or months of being worshipped, these little cuts feel confusing rather than abusive. The wild part? Just when you start questioning things, they'll throw you a bone, a single sweet text, a thoughtful gesture, and your brain goes, "See? The amazing person is still in there." You start working overtime trying to get back to those golden days, thinking if you just try harder, speak more carefully, dress better, whatever it is, maybe that loving person will return permanently. This isn't accidental. This is a cycle designed to create addiction. The psychological term is intermittent reinforcement, the most powerful way to hook someone. It's literally the same mechanism that keeps people at slot machines. Here's how to protect yourself. Start keeping notes. Seriously, when something feels off, write it down with the date. You'll start seeing patterns that are impossible to dismiss. That amazing person from the beginning isn't coming back permanently because they never really existed. They were a carefully crafted mask. The first sign, this dramatic shift from idolization to subtle put-downs, isn't about moods or stress or just how they are. It's a deliberate tactic. And once you can see it clearly, you've taken the first step toward freedom. Now, have you ever found yourself saying, "I'm sorry," for things you're not even sure happened? Or questioning if your memory of events is completely wrong? That creeping feeling that maybe you're the crazy one isn't accidental. It's the second major sign you're dealing with a narcissistic lover: gaslighting. I remember talking with Melissa, a woman who reached out after watching one of my videos. She described how her partner of 3 years would constantly deny conversations they'd had just days before. "We never discussed going to your sister's wedding," he'd insist, even though they'd talked about travel arrangements multiple times. At first, she'd argue back, but eventually she started recording their conversations secretly, just to prove to herself she wasn't losing her mind. That's what gaslighting does to you. It makes you doubt the most basic things about your own reality. Let me break this down. Gaslighting isn't just disagreeing or having different memories of events. It's a systematic attempt to make you question your sanity. That never happened. You're remembering it wrong. You're too sensitive. No one else has a problem with me, just you. The terrifying part is how it starts small. Maybe they claim they told you they'd be late when they didn't. When you point this out, they insist they mentioned it that morning. It seems minor, so you let it go. But over time, these incidents multiply until you're constantly second-guessing yourself. Why is this technique so powerful? Because when you can't trust your own perceptions, you become dependent on the narcissist to define reality for you. If you can't trust your own memory or judgment, how can you possibly leave? The psychological damage runs deep. People who've been gaslit often develop anxiety, depression, and a fundamental disconnect from their own intuition. That little voice inside that says something isn't right here gets silenced because you've been trained to ignore it. But here's your lifeline. Start verifying your reality. Keep a private journal, password protected if necessary, where you document conversations, incidents, and how you felt. Text messages, emails, and screenshots create an undeniable paper trail. And most importantly, maintain connections with at least one person outside the relationship who can offer perspective when you start doubting yourself. Remember, gaslighting works because it happens in isolation. When you bring these experiences into the light and share them with trusted friends, the manipulation loses its power. Now, if you're nodding along to any of this, if the relief of having someone name what you've been experiencing is washing over you right now, smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. Because recognizing these patterns is just the beginning of reclaiming your sanity and your life. You're not crazy. You're being manipulated by someone who benefits from your self-doubt. Let's now dive into sign number 3, which is isolation and control tactics. This one is sneaky because it masquerades as care and concern, making it hard to spot until you're already trapped in its web. It usually starts so innocently. Your friend Sarah seems like she's jealous of our relationship, or your mom is pretty critical of you. Have you noticed that? These observations seem insightful at first. Maybe they're seeing something you missed. But slowly, these comments about everyone in your life start piling up. Your best friend is using you. Your coworker is hitting on me when you're not looking. Your family doesn't respect your boundaries. One by one, these relationships start feeling complicated and exhausting to maintain. It's easier to just spend time with your partner instead. That's exactly what they want. Here's what makes this tactic so effective. It happens gradually. No narcissist starts by saying, "I don't want you to see your friends anymore." Instead, they create drama around these relationships until you voluntarily withdraw to keep the peace. The isolation doesn't stop with people. Control expands into every area of your life. Maybe they question your spending habits until you feel you need permission to buy things. Perhaps they check your location throughout the day, just to make sure you're safe. They might offer helpful criticism about your appearance until you're dressing to avoid their disapproval rather than expressing yourself. Technology makes this control even easier. Shared locations, passwords, and social media accounts are presented as having nothing to hide, but quickly become surveillance tools. Your privacy shrinks until it barely exists. What many people don't realize is how this isolation strategically weakens you. Humans are social creatures. We need community to thrive. When you're cut off from your support network, you lose those outside perspectives that might say, "Hey, this doesn't sound healthy." You lose financial and emotional safety nets that could help you leave. You lose the confidence that comes from diverse relationships affirming your worth. The way out of this trap starts with recognizing it. Ask yourself, has your social circle shrunk since this relationship began? Do you feel like you need permission to see friends or family? Are you hiding aspects of your relationship from others because you know they wouldn't approve? Start rebuilding these connections, even in small ways. A text to an old friend, a call to family. Each contact helps restore your sense of self and reality outside the relationship. If your partner reacts negatively to these connections, that's actually valuable information about their control tactics. By the way, if you're finding this information valuable and want to support the channel and the work being done to help people recognize and escape toxic relationships, you can leave a donation by clicking the thanks button just below this video. Your support helps reach more people who might be trapped in these situations right now. Let's continue with the fourth sign. Sign number 4 cuts right to the heart of why narcissistic relationships are so addictive and so difficult to leave. Emotional manipulation through intermittent reinforcement. This might sound like psychology jargon, but I promise you it's one of the most important concepts to understand when it comes to breaking free from a narcissistic partner. In the simplest terms, intermittent reinforcement means unpredictable rewards, and your brain gets absolutely hooked on this pattern. Think about it this way. If someone is consistently loving, you feel secure. If someone is consistently cold, you eventually walk away. But when someone is loving one day and distant the next, kind in the morning and cruel by dinner, thoughtful on Tuesday and completely checked out on Wednesday, your brain gets stuck in a desperate loop trying to figure out the pattern. The science behind this is fascinating and devastating. Studies show that inconsistent rewards create a stronger attachment than consistent ones. It's the same principle that makes gambling addictive. The slot machine doesn't pay out every time. It pays out just enough to keep you pulling that lever, convinced the next one will bring the jackpot. In relationships, this looks like a narcissistic partner who gives you just enough attention, affection, and approval to keep you hoping for more. They might disappear emotionally for days, then suddenly show up with intense connection and promises, only to withdraw again once you're fully reinvested. Remember how it was in the beginning becomes your constant thought. Those perfect moments become the carrot dangled in front of you, keeping you moving forward in a relationship that's actually causing immense pain. What makes this manipulation especially cruel is how it creates what psychologists call a trauma bond, a biochemical attachment formed through cycles of abuse and reward. Your body literally becomes addicted to the neurochemical roller coaster of anxiety and relief. This isn't a normal relationship rough patch. In healthy relationships, there's a foundation of consistency and security even during conflicts. With a narcissist, inconsistency is the foundation. The good moments aren't signs things are improving. They're strategic rewards to maintain your hope and emotional investment. Breaking free requires understanding that this cycle isn't accidental. It's not that they're going through something or working on themselves. This pattern is a deliberate manipulation tactic that keeps you attached and prevents you from leaving. The first step to freedom is recognizing that your addiction to the relationship isn't because this person is your soulmate. It's because the relationship structure has hijacked your brain chemistry. This recognition doesn't make leaving easy, but it makes it possible. You can begin to see your intense attachment for what it really is, a normal response to abnormal relationship patterns. When you understand this, you can begin to heal not by chasing another moment of connection with your narcissistic partner, but by creating consistency and calm in your own life, even if that means walking away from the person you feel you can't live without. Now, I need you to take a moment to think about the last time you were upset. Maybe you had a rough day at work, received bad news, or were just feeling down. How did your partner respond? Did they listen attentively, offer comfort, and try to understand your feelings? Or did the conversation somehow shift to their experiences, their problems, their perspective? This brings us to sign number 5 of a narcissistic relationship, a profound lack of empathy and emotional reciprocity. This might be the most painful sign to recognize, because it strikes at the core of what relationships should be, a mutual exchange of care and understanding. True empathy means feeling with someone, putting yourself in their shoes, and connecting with their emotional experience. Performative empathy, which narcissists excel at, mimics the language of care without the genuine feeling behind it. Think about your own relationship. When you share something difficult, does your partner actually connect with your feelings, or do they offer quick solutions to silence your distress? Do they listen to understand, or just wait for their turn to speak? Does the conversation inevitably circle back to how your situation affects them? These questions aren't easy to sit with. Many of us have been conditioned to accept emotional crumbs, to be grateful for any response that resembles support. But in healthy relationships, emotional support flows both ways. It doesn't require constant negotiation or feel like pulling teeth. Consider these scenarios. When they're upset, do you drop everything to comfort them? But when roles are reversed, are you told you're overreacting or too needy? Do you find yourself constantly explaining basic human emotions to them as if they're foreign concepts? Have you caught yourself thinking, if I could just make them understand how this feels? This one-way emotional street creates a fundamental imbalance in the relationship. You become the giver, the understander, the compromiser, while they remain the taker, the explained to, the accommodated. Over time, this depletes your emotional resources while they remain perfectly intact, even energized by your efforts. What makes this particularly insidious is how it connects to larger patterns of entitlement. The narcissist truly believes their emotional needs are more important than yours. They expect special treatment, exceptions to rules, and consideration they rarely extend to others. This isn't a communication issue you can solve with more explanation or patience. Here's the hardest truth to accept. This lack of empathy isn't something they're willing to change, because from their perspective, it's not a problem. While everyone can improve their emotional intelligence, true narcissists don't see a reason to develop genuine empathy. It doesn't serve their needs. Your assignment is to honestly assess the reciprocity in your relationship without making excuses. Track emotional exchanges for a week. Notice who comforts whom, who makes space for whose feelings, who accommodates and who demands accommodation. The pattern might surprise you or confirm what you've suspected all along. Remember, relationships aren't meant to be one-person emotional support systems. You deserve someone who can meet you halfway on the bridge of understanding, not someone who expects you to cross the entire distance alone. As we wrap up this journey together, let's quickly remember the 5 warning signs of a narcissistic lover. The love bombing to devaluation cycle, gaslighting and reality distortion, isolation and control tactics, emotional manipulation through intermittent reinforcement, and that profound lack of empathy. These patterns don't improve with time, they intensify. The longer you stay, the deeper these tactics dig into your psyche and self-worth. Your next steps need to prioritize safety above all else. If you recognize these signs in your relationship, start by quietly building a support network. Reach out to friends, family, or domestic abuse hotlines like the National Domestic Violence Hotline. I know the barriers to leaving feel overwhelming. Financial entanglement, shared children, fear of retaliation. These concerns are valid, but none are insurmountable with proper support. There is life after narcissistic abuse, a rich, peaceful life where you rediscover yourself and your capacity for healthy love. Please understand this wasn't your fault. Narcissists are expert manipulators who target empathetic, caring people. The very qualities that made you vulnerable to this abuse are the same strengths that will help you rebuild. If this video resonated with you, share it with someone who might need this information. Your simple share could be the wake-up call that saves someone years of psychological damage. And please, click on the suggested video popping up on your screen right now. The algorithm has selected something specifically for your situation that will give you the next steps you need to take action today. Don't wait until more of your precious life slips away in a relationship that's designed to drain you. You deserve so much better, and that better life is waiting for you now.